Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about how you can invite wellness in your life in very, very simple things, but sometimes challenging to implement. Let's explore this further. So, wellness in itself is not just the absence of disease, it's a sense of having balance and abundance in all aspects of our life, whether that is physical, emotional, social, spiritual, occupational, financial, and environment. It's a sense of restorative balance, sense of having greater level of satisfaction in all of these lives, because all of these areas are actually intertwined and interconnected and they impact each other. So let me just give you an example to make that easier. So when somebody doesn't have a job or there are some financial distress, for example, there is debt. Now that debt leads to anxiety. Now that anxiety, which is in the space of, your mental health or emotional health, that anxiety can lead to medical conditions when there is consistent level of anxiety over a period of time. Unless it is resolved, can lead to medical conditions. Somebody can have elevated levels of blood pressure, right? Might have to take medications, might have to go through a surgery. So medical conditions, something as simple as challenging also as losing a job, can lead to physical distress and physical ill health, because now there might be some medical conditions. And sometimes medical conditions could be as simple as acidity, bloating, lethargy, fatigue, not having enough energy. So all of these things. And when somebody has a medical condition, they tend to, generally what we've seen is they tend to question life, right? They tend to question the sense of their being, the sense of question, why is this happened to them? So you can see this, how this is all completely intertwined and interconnected with each other, and how one aspect of our lives affects and influences other aspects of our life. Similarly, let's look at another example. So when we are not working, okay, say for example, you've had a layoff, you've been fired, or you're jobless, or you've kind of maybe taken a break from work because you had to take care of a family member, and I've seen quite of that now in the last 2 years. So when you're in that situation, then you at that time you sometimes may be deprived of social interactions, because you're not going out, you're not meeting friends, you're not meeting your colleagues, you're contained in your homes. So your social balance is a whack at that particular point of lack of a better word. It's an imbalance at that point of time. And that again leads to anxiety, distress in life. So you can see how the same situation can affect people in different ways. And truth be told, what wellness means to one person may not necessarily mean the same to another person. There's not a linear pathway to wellness. Okay, it's not like I can give a defined chart or a defined roadmap and that has to be applicable to everyone. Wellness is personal, right? It's very, very personal. And wellness, when there is balance, when there is a sense of satisfaction and abundance in all of these areas of life, this is when we can say we are inviting well-being, which is a state of happiness, blissfulness. So unless there is wellness, there is no well-being. There's no state of happiness. And we are all, the end goal for most people is to be happy, isn't it? Most of us want to be happy. Now, let's look at each of these dimensions separately, but before we do that, two things that we can do that will invite more wellness in our lives is, number one, to have an ecosystem, right? It's very, very important for us to have an ecosystem of support. We do come in this world alone. We do go after that alone. But while we are here, we need a support ecosystem. We need friends, we need family, we need a sense of community, we need peers, we also need mentors. So find out if you have that sense of support ecosystem where you are supported in your vision for your life, you are supported without judgment. You are not, sometimes our friends laugh at us when we say something like, I want to quit my job and I want to sit in the Himalayas, for example. So find friends that can offer compassion, and empathy and not judgment. It's very, very important to have that. Even with lovers, in husband and wives, in boyfriend and girlfriends, it's very, very important to have a relationship where you can actually feel that you can be vulnerable. You can actually cry. You can actually share your anxieties and fears without being judged for being weak, for example. Right? And some of the best relationships in the world are where partners can be vulnerable, can actually communicate. So make sure you find whatever ecosystem that you have, whether that you're getting that from your family. If your parents are not supportive, is there an uncle and aunt who can support you? Is there a cousin who can support you? Right? Make sure you have an ecosystem that helps you to stay grounded and supported. So that's one. Number two is routines. It's very important for all of us to have a sense of routine and have healthy habits. Now, most of us, a lot of us, go about our lives without a routine. And I remember my son, when he was only about 5 years old and he was in KG, he got an assignment that he had to narrate his routine. So look at it. The brain of a child is almost fully developed at the age of 5. So cultivating really great habits, whether that's eating habits, whether that's routine, whether that's ability to exercise, to sit down and have conversations with people, sit on the dining table to eat food rather than sitting in front of television. These are all habits that we cultivate young. And the earlier we cultivate, it becomes easier for us to form sustainable habits on them. Even if you've not formed those habits, our brain is amazing. We can actually change those habits, but it requires resilience, it requires discipline, it also requires awareness, right? Awareness of where we are right now, and where is it that we want to go. For example, unless you know what you're called to do in your life, unless you have a larger life vision, how do you even know what habits are going to help you to achieve those visions, that larger vision? Right? So make sure you have absolute clarity of where you're headed and cultivate habits that will help you to achieve those. For example, simple things as I remember coaching a woman many, many years ago, and her motive was, I want to be fit at the age of 70, 80 years old. I want to be able to play with my children, play with my grandchildren. I want to be able to travel the world. Boom, that was her vision. So now she had to do everything. 10 years prior to that, 15 years prior to that, she had to do everything that would help her to achieve that vision. One of the things was how do I get more active? If I have to play with my grandchildren, I have to be fit. So she embraced gardening, and that allowed her to embrace movement in a joyful manner, right? She started taking better care of her body. She started eating better. And she also started looking at her financial resources so that she's not spending everything that she made. She was making investments for the future so she can go and travel and see the world. Right? So make sure you have a clear understanding of your larger life vision, because whatever habits unless you have that, you're not going to cultivate the habits. There's no motivation for you to cultivate those habits because you don't even know where you're headed, right? Now let's look at each and every aspect, and I'm going to race myself through this, because truth be told, in real life, I'll probably do a session on each one of them separately. So let's look at physical life. Physical health and physical well-being will talk about, are you eating healthy? Are you getting enough vitamins, minerals, water, complex carbohydrates, and proteins that give you energy, sense of good health and vitality? Are you moving, right? Or are you living a sedentary life? And find a movement that is joyous for you. Find a movement that allows you to feel happiness, right? Feel like I'm invited to do this. I want to do this rather than being compelled to do this. Let it not be a chore. So find out a kind of an activity that gives you joy, whether that is walking, whether that is dancing, whether that's gardening, whether that's swimming, whether that's playing a sport, whether that's rock climbing, whatever it may be. Find a sport that engages you and makes you happy. If you're not comfortable going to the gym and be around people who are extremely fit, and you feel that you're not fit yourself, and you feel kind of not comfortable. A lot of people don't feel comfortable when they see a lot of people fit, but they're not fit. So find a place, a community, a place where you find joy. And but there are also a lot of people who enjoy lifting weights. They love running on a treadmill. So whatever it may be for you, embrace that. In physical health, it's also very important to look at, am I getting enough sleep? Am I getting 7 to 9 hours of good sleep? Does my routine allow me to create space and time for enough and ample amount of sleep? Because when you're not sleeping well, the next day you're going to have a foggy mind, you're going to have a sluggish mind, you'll struggle to make decisions, you're going to eat an average of 300 to 500 calories more. Okay, now, are you, in terms of physical health, are you taking your medications on time? Medical compliance is a huge problem world over. So making sure that you're eating your medicines on time and you're finishing the course that the doctor has prescribed you is very, very important. Lastly, but not least, in the physical health is preventive health and proactive wellness. All our habits around physical health will lead to proactive wellness, because you're going to delay the onset of disease, right? And you're going to live longer, but it's not just the longevity, but it's also the quality of life. So that's really important. So when we're talking about, and also preventive health, when you're talking about preventive health, it's very, very important that you get your annual medical checkups done on time. Right? So all of these things are things you may want to ask your question. Am I doing all of these things? Am I eating well? Am I sleeping on time? Am I exercising? Am I taking care of my medical prescriptions? Am I proactively participating in my wellness and taking care of my preventive health checkups? Okay, that is your physical well-being. When you're talking about emotional well-being, think about a lot of times when I talk to people, most people don't even know what they're feeling. Okay, so if I were to ask you, what are you feeling right now? What is it that you're feeling right now? And a lot of times people will struggle to associate with that feeling they're feeling that moment. I am excited. I am happy. I am sad. I am sorrow. I feel sorrow. I have a sense of loss. I feel isolated. I feel alone. I feel happy, right? I feel curious. There are so many different emotions. I feel grumpy, right? Children will say, I feel grumpy. I don't feel good, right? So there are different kinds of emotions, but a lot of times you don't even acknowledge as we go along the day, what is it that I'm feeling right now? So take a moment, sit back and think to yourself, what is the most common feeling that you feel through the day? Is it happiness, sorrow, sad, worried, curious, anxious? What is it? What kind of feeling is encompassing your life, right? And putting a name on it really, really helps, because once you put a name on it, you've identified it, right? Then you identify, do I have more of it? Do I want less of it? If I want more of excitement, if I want more of curiosity, right? How do I invite that? If I'm feeling a sense of loss or I'm feeling alone, how do I, what can I do so that I don't feel lonely anymore? What kind of activities allow me to meet new people, right? So these are the things that we can do in terms of emotional well-being. Emotional well-being also talks about self-care. This is where self-care comes in. What are you doing right now that will help you to take care of yourself? For example, everybody knows in my family, evenings, Preeti is off for her yoga, nothing doing. She's going to create a routine that will enable her to do that. And it's chata, bye-bye, I'm going to sit in my car and I'm going to go. So what is it that you do for your self-care? What is that practice that allows you, whether that is just sitting outside on the balcony and gazing at the sky, right? Whether that is meditation, whether that's breath work, whether that is cooking, whether that is going out and shopping for good food, organic produce. So whatever that may be, maybe you want to imbibe all of that in your life. Then I'm going to cover at least about a few more here. So let's talk a little bit more about, say, occupational well-being. So ask yourself, the kind of work that I am doing today, is it what I was called to do? Is this somewhere I find inner joy and happiness? Do I look forward to going to work every day in the morning? Am I excited about going to work? So think about that. And even if there is financial compulsions for you to do the job that you're going to do, find something else that will be in alignment with your larger purpose, because that's going to give you so much fulfillment, satisfaction, and even the energy to do the job that you don't like that much. A lot of times we do jobs that we don't like. I did that for a very long time, and at midlife crisis, we start questioning, is this what I was supposed to do? We're seeing a lot of engineers and advocates and lawyers and all these people coming into the wellness profession, and they say, you know what, I was never called to this to do this work. Because the society wanted me to do this work, my parents wanted me to do this work, my family wanted me to do this work, and hence I'm doing that work. So make sure you identify areas of your life that bring you joy, and areas of your life work-wise which will be in alignment with the larger purpose and meaning in your life, and have a sense of abundance and fulfillment, and that fuels you, right? We're going to talk lastly but not the least. I'm not going to be able to cover all of the wellness dimensions. Probably we'll do a talk on all of them independently. The last one would be, let me see which one I want to do. Let's do intellectual. So intellectual well-being is about our ability to keep our minds agile, to improve our mental dexterity. As we grow older, it's very important to keep an active mind. That's why when they say even after you retire, you have to do something that keeps your mind active. So what are you doing on a daily basis that sharpens your mind? Are you reading a book? Are you researching something? Are you learning something? Are you even using your hands to do some arts and crafts and pottery and painting and whatever not, right? And are you maybe engaging in a dialogue? Are you participating in a debate with somebody that allows you to sharpen your mind? Are you playing puzzles, crossword puzzles, just doing puzzles? Or these days, my son and I are into chess. So whatever it is, that'll help your mind to be sharp, right? It's very, very important to do that as well. And let me go and cover a last one as well, the spiritual well-being, because spiritual well-being is about having a sense of purpose and meaning in life, and identifying our values and beliefs, because they become the moral compass by which we govern our lives. That is, when we have a sense of purpose and meaning, it allows us, to make decisions. It makes it easy for us to make decisions in every aspect of our life. There is no confusion of where I'm headed, right? A sense of purpose and meaning allows us to do that. And when we don't have sense of purpose and meaning, and when we don't have a moral compass, when we don't have values and beliefs, it affects every aspect of your life. And wellness, in the wellness space, world over, spirituality is the most neglected one. So there you go. I hope you've learned something new. I hope you're asking some powerful questions for yourself about your life, the way forward for the next 10, 15, 20 years of your life, 20, 30, whatever it is of your life. It was my pleasure to be with you. I hope you've enjoyed. If you've enjoyed, give us a thumbs up. Tell me and share a little bit more about what did you do after listening to this video. Take care. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.